Goffin and King would be key players in a whole new trend, the invasion of male-dominated rock and roll by girls.
Well, I met him on a Sunday.
And I missed him on a Monday.
And Mickey says, well, I phoned him on a Tuesday.
And I dated him on Wednesday.
That's Beverly.
Do run, they run, they papa do run. They run, they papa do.
Ooh, that's how it started.
God.
The Shirelles were four high school friends from Passaic, New Jersey. Their first recording, I Met Him on a Sunday, didn't make the top 40. But they soon made recording history with a song written by Goffin and King.
Tonight you're mine completely. You give your love so sweetly. Tonight the light of love is in your eyes. But will you love me tomorrow?
Will You Still Love Me Tomorrow was brought to our office by Carole King herself. She wanted that song to be a success so badly. She was like, that was her baby. She was very proud of that song.
We had a kettle drum guy that was there playing, who she then felt that she could play it better. So she just
she
left.
was uneasy, yes.
Right. So she came into the studio and played it. I remember at that time her husband, Jerry Goffin.
Right.
Because of their energy and feeling about the song, it was passed over to us.
Will You Love Me Tomorrow was the first hit song that Jerry and I ever had as songwriters. It was we were married and just starting out. And Jerry had a job as a chemist, and when Will You Love Me Tomorrow hit really big, he could quit his day job.
It's the morning sun.
There was quite a lot of controversy that it was suggestive because of the lyric, tonight you're mine completely, you give your love so sweetly. Tonight the light of love is in your eyes, but will you still love me tomorrow?
So tell me now, and I won't ask again. Will you still love me tomorrow?
It definitely spoke for women, young women all over who were wondering if they should do it or not. Will you respect me in the morning? Kind of an attitude was prevalent in that time, and Jerry addressed that.
So tell
Released in early 1961, Will You Love Me Tomorrow broke new ground as the first recording by an all-girl group to hit the top of the charts. Within weeks, the Shirelles had a second song in the top 10, and within months, a third. The success of their singles, coupled with relentless touring, put the Shirelles at the leading edge of a girl group explosion.
There did seem to be a blossoming after we
Shirelles.
pretty much, with the Shirelles, of opening the doors so that other groups, girl groups, could follow. And when I think back to it and all of the hard work, when I say that we earned it, we earned it. And I'd like to think that we were a very intricate part of doing that, opening that door, which is true.
We were. We kicked those doors hard.
The Marvelous Marvelettes.
Oh yes, wait a minute, Mr. Postman. Wait, hey, Mr. Postman. James, my baby's got me locked up in chains.
My boyfriend's back and you're gonna be in trouble. Hey la, my boyfriend's back.
One fine day, you're gonna want me for your girl.
Tell him that you're never gonna leave him. Tell him that you're always gonna love him. Tell him right now.
Party nights, I see the party nights. Going to the chapel of love. Yeah.
In Jerry Goffin's words, in the early 60s, God was a young black girl who could sing. For many performers, the trend meant fleeting fame. But for one eccentric genius, it led to rock and roll immortality. In the summer of '63, 22-year-old Phil Spector seized the black girl group sound, saturated it in the dynamic power of Wagnerian opera, and transformed rock and roll. Spector had worked with Lieber and Stoller and soaked up their rich orchestral treatment of the Drifters. Later, on his own label, he pioneered what he called little symphonies for kids. Others called it the Wall of Sound. Spector wasn't only a producer, he also wrote many of his girl group hits in collaboration with Brill-building writers Ellie Greenwich and Jeff Barry.
The Do Run Run probably came about because I couldn't think of anything to write at the moment and maybe figured I'd do it the next day and never got around to it. It either means that or it means what Do-Wah Diddy means, but with 3 people.
Phil Spector's production techniques influenced generations of rockers. The giant sound of his recordings emanated from a surprisingly small room, 22 by 31, at Gold Star Studios, with engineer Larry Levine.
This studio's just about the same size as Gold Star was, and the problem I had then was trying to figure out how I was going to get everybody in. Usually I had 5 guitars, sometimes 6 or 7. 3 pianos were standard. 3 basses were standard. Percussion, I don't know. Any guests that came in were going to end up playing. Drums, we had 1 set. At the end, we had 2. Then we had horns, and to fit everybody in was a physical problem, but it made the sound great. And when these guys started playing, we had the Wall of Sound.
One of the revolutionary things that Phil did was you never thought of saying, well, I'll have 3 pianos basically playing the same variations of the same rhythm. And what that did was create this rolling rumble that bounced off the ceiling, went into somebody else's microphone, and became the Wall of Sound. And Philip used to say to me, when we play it back out of the speaker, when the playback came back, he'd go, "That's gold. That represents gold coming out of that speaker."
Ultimately, Phil Spector's Wall of Sound became his trademark, eclipsing the artists themselves, who were interchangeable.
Darlene Love was the Ronettes. I think she was the Crystals. She was Darlene Love. He didn't care. He broke all the rules when he recorded then because he was the star. His song was the star and his sound was the star. So the artist was a secondary item then.
1, 2, 3. Every evening when the sun goes down, I lay my head on the pillow down.
The daughter of a minister, Darlene Love learned to sing in the church choir. Her gospel power could stand up to Spector's production and deliver a convincing street sound. Although she sang lead on records such as the Crystals' He's a Rebel and backup on countless others, few would know. It was another of Spector's singers who captured the limelight. The most famous singer in all of Spector's girl groups was Ronnie Bennett of the Ronettes. The stage presence of the Ronettes, former go-go dancers, combined with Ronnie's provocative voice, created a new type of girl group, the Bad Girls. Long before the Material Girl, Ronnie Bennett was rock and roll's first sex kitten. She later became Phil Spector's wife.
Phil was in love with her voice before he was in love with her. I know because he said, boy, there's Frankie Lyman. You know, he compared her to Frankie Lyman.
She almost sounded like she was 12 years old all the time. That's what Philip loved about Ronnie, was the sound that she had. He thought she was the perfect artist for the time to interpret music in that period.
Spector was right. The Ronettes' Be My Baby captured the sound of an era. It was not, however, the final triumph of Spector's wall of sound.
I can't imagine what Phil was thinking about when he said, yeah, I want to do the Righteous Brothers. I don't, because it had been at least 90% of the stuff that he was doing at that time, maybe 100%, was all female. It was all real catchy, cute kind of stuff. And so I don't know. And the truth is, I don't even know what made us think that, yeah, that would be a good idea to go with Phil, because we were doing nothing but real rock and roll stuff.